gonna go get coffee, and then I have decided to clean the fridge today, so everything is outside. But I also felt extremely sleepy, so we have to go get coffee first and make it back in time so that the food doesn't spoil. It's a good Sunday. It's a slightly moody Sunday, slightly cloudy Sunday, so perfect time to take upon a crazy project. I always get really cold, so we have Delia to go get coffee.
It's really not that cold.
It's not that cold, but it's still layer. And we can go drop this off.
It's like -6.
It was supposed to snow today as well, but it didn't, I think. All right, let's go get coffee. Here's the northern view. All right, we're gonna get to cleaning. Cleaning is, the thought of cleaning isn't very therapeutic to me, but the act of cleaning is very therapeutic. I have taken out everything in my fridge, so I need to do this quickly so that nothing goes bad, even though there's nothing that sensitive that I have. Nothing is that perishable. Okay, we have a bunch of stuff to decant, so we'll start decanting. The fridge is done. Here we have our drinks, eggs, a little bit of decanted mushrooms and chilies. And here we'll put any leftover. So this space is just for like takeout and leftovers. There are veggies up top with a little tofu, more veggies, and these are cut veggies down here. So they have to be decanted in a box. And then down there is just more greens, some cheese, and this is a little less organized, but still organized. But I'm so happy we cleaned the fridge. Today I'm doing a last minute kathak practice before going to class. Usually I have work from 9 to 7, but today I finished work early. I started work early and finished work early just so I could get some practice in. There's this one very tricky part of kathak where you have to divide 4 beats essentially into 3, which is really hard for me in my brain because I'm a very even person. But we're gonna try out how that looks today. te, te, din, da, da, te, that, te, that, 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 da, te, that, da, te, that, te, that, te, that, da, te, that, te, that, da, te, that, go back on the next one. Da, te, that, da, te, that, da, te, that, te, that, da, te, that, te, that, te, that, da, 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 te, that, that, da, te, that, te, that, da, te, that, te, da, te, that. Okay, that was good. Oh my god. Te, da, te, that, da, te, that, da, te, that, da, te, that, da, te, te, that, da, 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 te, te that da te 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 te da te te that 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 da te te da te te that 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 da. All right. This is hard because you have to essentially divide 4 by 3. And that's hard to me in my brain. But I'm getting it, I think. Practice, I would say I don't do riyaaz yet. Riyaaz is like praxis and extreme concentration during practice. But practice is the unsexy part of any hobby, but it's very central. And I think I was privileged because I took Bharatanatyam as a young dancer, and the praxis was just instilled in me as discipline. So it doesn't hurt me as much now. But whenever I go take up a new hobby, I don't practice it. And that's where I think a lot of us just fall short, is in order to be good at something, it needs a lot of dedicated time. So yeah, I kind of want to change that this year, I think, especially with dance. I want to give it more intentional time and more intentional practice and more focused practice, which I only can carve out on the weekends. As I've grown older, I've started thinking more about mortality, the mortality of my loved ones, my own mortality. I know that, of course, life isn't guaranteed in the next moment, but I live in this like slight delusion where I consider the next X moments to be guaranteed. And same with my loved ones, I almost consider that guaranteed in a certain way. And I often wonder how I would change my tasks or how I would change my day-to-day if I realized that that isn't necessarily true. I wouldn't imagine that I'd be a very productive person in society. I think that kind of wiring to not think about mortality all the time is almost necessary for us to function well in society and progress as humanity. But yeah, this is something that I keep thinking about as I keep growing older, because the moments that I have with my loved ones is limited, and I often find myself wanting to spend more and more time with them, which is natural, I think. I think all of us have certain contracts with society, and we live with this like very superficial veil of delusion where we have to get into these contracts with society. And I think that's a very positive thing for us to progress as a species. But then I think the constant exercise becomes, are these contracts, did they make sense within the morals that you've set for yourself? Are these contracts too restrictive? Are they not nourishing your soul in the way they should? Or do you need to be very delusional to buy into these contracts? I feel like if any of these three answers comes out no, then that contract isn't necessarily worth upholding. Maybe there should be amendments to that. And all of these contracts are very personal. You enter into these contracts with society by yourself. I have definitely glossed over some of my own contracts that I've entered with society. And as we're going through this exercise of deciding what rituals we're going to include for our marriage, that's definitely being revisited a lot. And I think that's a very, very good exercise to do. I think it keeps you a little sharp, keeps you aware of your role in humanity and your role in this world. Also, I feel like this meditation on mortality most of the time usually feels like hitting a wall at the end. Like, I know this is not permanent, and the impermanence of that is something that I can acknowledge, but I can't truly grasp it. I understand that I won't live forever, that my loved ones won't exist forever, but that's something that I humanly can't wrap my head around. The non-existence is something that is very elusive to me. But yeah, I think, before this past year, I was all for immortality. I thought immortality was the goal to work on. But I think I'm realizing that the universe only has one mechanism for progress that it has upheld, and that is the cyclical process of production and destruction. I think impermanence is necessary for new ideas and new growth. And unfortunately, the universe has only come up with this mechanism for selection and progression. Maybe it'll come up with another mechanism in the future, but until then, I think it is necessary for progress. So unfortunately, I will have to buy into this idea that I am not going to be there forever, and my loved ones are not going to be there forever. So the best I can do is show up, and show up in a good way for everybody that I love. And it's hard in today's world where, you have to work on yourself, you have to work on your hobbies, and you have to be there for others. So that's something that I'm struggling with as well. But all you can do is try your best. And I think the other thing also that's very important that I've realized is just being happy in the act of this marvelous existence, which is so random, in a very random universe. Just the mere fact of existence is marvelous. So I'm trying to be more appreciative of that fact as well. And showing up can look different on different days. Some days you can't show up in the way that you want to. Some days you just lie in bed, you work from bed, and you stay in bed forever because you're tired or you're not feeling great, and your body's telling you, hey man, I can't do this. That's completely fine. And some days you're killing it. You're eating healthy, you're working great, you're working out, you're doing everything perfectly, and that's great too. I think you need a balance of both of these days. I have definitely had both of these days this past month for sure, and yeah, every day I wake up, I just try to listen to my body and see how best I can respect it and show up for myself that day. We're at Miss Nellie's. The last time we came here was on a very fateful day, but it was actually the most fun day that we had in the last few months. It was a date night, and we went to see a play called Job, and that was really good. One of the best off-Broadway plays. And then we went to a comedy show. Well, we came here, had, I think, the best nachos and Brussels sprouts, which we have ordered again today. And then we went to a comedy show. And then we got, because we went back home, had a little dance party in the living room.
Which I don't remember.
That was a long time coming, I think. It's good to create something and put it out there. I really don't care how it does or doesn't do. I care a little, actually. Yeah, I feel like even with dance videos, I felt like playing that algorithms game is the most tiring part of the entire process of creation, because you're like, the intrinsic value that you've already applied to it doesn't matter anymore. The act of creation is the intrinsic value of the piece, but then you wait for this external validation, wait for it to be perceived, and sometimes, yeah, people don't perceive it the way you intended it to be perceived.
Yeah, I mean, I just like it for the fact that it's a way of capturing us, friends, family, and it'll be fun to look back on this 20 years, 40 years.
Yeah, because I realized, I think I was talking about this as well. We take so many pictures, so many videos, and then when Apple comes with memories or on this day, or Facebook comes with that, and that's the only time I look back on pictures. I never sit and scroll through my albums, which is insane because I think when I was a child, when I used to go to my relative's house, I think I told you this also recently, one of the activities was to sit and scroll through their photo books of a trip that they went on recently. People used to create those Kodak albums, and that was an activity when you when you visited your aunt.
Yeah, it's useful in the same way Git commits are useful. Very niche joke. Sorry, I lost you a few followers there.
No, actually, in this vlog, I will share my bash RC and some git reflog, which is my favorite git command. So it's actually very topical. I think I'm proud of my bash RC. I think I just have a lot of aliases, which makes my life easier. Commit.
What is it? GC?
I do gcom because GC is git checkout.
But yeah, at the end of the day, nothing is better than natural language. The way I do things right now is I just tell Cursor what I want to do and it runs the commands for me.
Yeah.
Somehow that's still very much easier.
Oh yeah?
Because I don't have to remember what.
We're gonna turn this slightly into engineering.
Okay,
but
sorry guys.
No, I actually wanted to talk about this because, so you know how I love JetBrains editors. I think JetBrains does editors really well. The Golang editor, Go language editor, the Eclipse, everything is industry standard. But a lot of really heavy engineers will use Vim they're power users of Vim, and they just know like all of the things at the back of their head. If they want to search for something, if they want to like go to someplace. And sometimes, I'll be honest, I like see the efficiency that they have on Vim, and it's not as much as what an ID, like a ID built for that language would give you, right? But they still, like, I can't even use Vim to edit a bash script. Like, that's the most I'll do on Vim. I need, like, an editor, but some people are such power users of Vim that it blows my mind. That's how I feel about, I guess, some of these, like, not using cursor and watching you use cursor. I feel like a Vim user. Whereas you're just like using natural language and allowing cursor to do all of these things for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I never.
No hate to Vim users. I think Vim users are one of the best engineers.